My wife thought one DNA test wouldn't change anything. But she was wrong. The good old days. It feels like they were from a totally different era, doesn't it? Like, what even happened? Time really knows how to throw a curveball. Evelyn and I have been hitched for 6 years now, and if you squint just right, our relationship looks like a picture-perfect postcard. Seriously, it's like we're the poster couple for marital bliss, at least from the outside. We totally threw our hearts and hours into crafting our little love nest together. When we decided to start a family, it was like that last puzzle piece finally found its home. Cue the confetti and happy dance. Our marriage had its fair share of bumps in the road, that's for sure. My job had me playing hide-and-seek with my own life, disappearing for weeks on end, and let's be real, there was this awkward silence between us that we just pretended didn't exist. I thought we were tough enough to handle whatever curveballs life decided to pitch at us. When Evelyn dropped the bomb that she was pregnant, I was doing backflips of joy. The thought of becoming a dad lit a fire under me, and I dove headfirst into all the prep work. We totally went all out picking baby names, slapping paint on the nursery walls, and dreaming up our future as a trio. I even pulled some strings to work closer to home so I could be around more for Evelyn and the little one. For months, it felt like we were cruising down easy street, everything just clicking into place. Who knew there were already some sneaky cracks hiding under the surface? Surprise, surprise. The day our daughter popped into the world was like stepping into a quirky family painting, definitely not the flawless magazine cover shot, but hey, it was pretty darn close. Evelyn was sprawled out in that hospital bed, cradling our little bundle of joy, while her mom and I flanked her like proud bodyguards, grinning from ear to ear. Okay, let's be real, newborns might not win any beauty contests, but to parents and grandparents? They're basically little bundles of perfection. I watched as our daughter's splotchy red skin transformed into a lovely shade of soft pink. Talk about a glow-up. The gooey stuff from her grand entrance into the world was long gone, and even her quirky head shape had transformed into a sweet, heavenly softness that could make anyone swoon. She was a total knockout, and I couldn't pretend otherwise. I had this gut feeling she'd end up looking just like Evelyn, my wife of 6 years and, until recently, the absolute queen of my heart. I sat there, trying to be all zen while Evelyn was breastfeeding our little one, and both grandmas were practically throwing unsolicited advice like confetti. Seriously, who needs that much input during snack time? Evelyn totally fell into nursing like it was second nature, probably thanks to those parenting classes we slogged through, where they dissected breastfeeding and newborn care like it was a science project. Just as I was about to do my best impression of a doorstop, a nurse waltzed in with another woman following her like a lost puppy. So, there I was, standing around like a lost puppy, when the nurse casually dropped, "This is Ms. Rylance from administration." Of course, her name tag was a total mystery from my angle, could have been anything from Superwoman to I Love Cats. She's your go-to gal for tackling that birth certificate application. In any other place, you might raise an eyebrow at a woman multitasking with a baby in one arm and paperwork in the other, but here? Totally par for the course. No rush, take your sweet time. Ms. Rylance said, flashing a friendly grin. Wrap up that baby chow time, and when you're all set, just fill in those highlighted bits. Hey, most of the deets are already chilling in your hospital records, like when and where you popped into this world. Alrighty, we're gonna need both of your full names, Evelyn's maiden name, because who doesn't love a good throwback? Your ages, and a sprinkle of other details. Let's get this party started. Don't sweat it. We'll take care of everything and ship it off to the county clerk's office for you. Keep your eyes peeled. Your birth certificate will be sliding into your mailbox in just a couple of weeks. How exciting. And just like that, Ms. Rylance waved goodbye and made her grand exit. Hey Darius, how about you tackle that paperwork, huh? Evelyn shot me a quick grin, like she was in on a secret or something. I'm kinda busy right now, so don't hold your breath. I totally blanked on her smile. Nah, I think I'll just let you tackle that when you've got a moment to breathe, I said with a chill vibe. Hey, maybe we should hit the pause button on me signing anything as the dad until those DNA test results come back, right? Just a thought. If this were a flick, you'd totally hear the dramatic scratch of a record needle going whoa, hold up, and killing the vibe. And just like that, it was like someone hit the pause button on life. 3 out of the 4 ladies just stood there, jaws on the floor like they'd seen a ghost or something. Everyone was losing their minds, but the baby? Totally unfazed, just trying to get back to that interrupted snack time. Her surprised yelp shattered the quiet, just managing to drown out the chorus of gasps around her. Evelyn's mom kicked things off. Have you lost your marbles, Darius? What on earth made you think that was a good idea? Evelyn's eyes were doing a little dance, first shocked, then puzzled, and now? Oh boy, now she looked like she was ready to unleash some serious fury. Are you kidding me right now? Evelyn shot a look that could slice through steel. What, you think I'm running a baby rental service over here? Oh really? That's how you see me, huh? After all the wild rides we've had together? Her lips did a little dance, attempting to pull off a smile. This can't be serious, right? Oh, come on. Is this an April Fool's joke or what? You got it, that's the one. Oh look, it's April 1st. Time to unleash your inner prankster and make us all question reality. What kind of shenanigans are you cooking up this year? But her body language was totally throwing her words under the bus. She was all stiff and breathless, like a deer in headlights. I shook my head, totally glued to her eyes like they were the last slice of pizza at a party. No kidding, Evelyn. I'm not joking around here, I said, my voice as icy as a polar bear's backside. Hey, there's a chance I might not be the dad after all. Her eyes went all saucer-like, shock morphing into full-on fury. Seriously, how could you even think I'd pull a fast one on you? It's your go-to move, and you're pulling it off like a pro without cracking a smile. Wow, color me impressed. I glanced over at Evelyn's mom. Hey, I guess it's time to play musical chairs with the car seat and transfer it from my ride to yours. Hey, I think it's a good idea to scoot Evelyn and the little one back home today. We've always been the we got this type, but it looks like she might actually need a sidekick for a while, especially since I'm off doing my own thing. Just as I was about to make my grand escape for the door, my mom's voice sliced through the air like a hot knife through butter, sharp and totally in charge. Hold up, Darius Monroe Whitner. What do you think you're doing? Her words smacked me right in the feel. I hit the brakes, my jaw doing that clenchy thing as I spun around to give her the old stink eye. Both moms shot each other some seriously intense looks, their faces doing a wild dance of shock and worry. Evelyn, on the other hand, was having a full-on waterworks moment, hugging that baby like it was the last slice of pizza at a party. Oh no, you can't just bail on me. She wailed, her voice doing that adorable cracking thing. You can't just bail on me and little Livia, come on now. She's your little princess. Guess what? You're the dad, Darius. I let out a dramatic sigh and shot her a look that could curdle milk. So, turns out I'm the dad in this little adventure, huh? Just because you're supposed to doesn't mean it's actually a thing, Evelyn. Come on, we both know there's a whole universe of difference here. My mom, clearly running out of patience, marched right up to me and poked me in the chest like I was a button she was trying to reset. Her eyes were on fire as she yanked me forward by the front of my shirt, just like she did back in the day when I was a kid. What's up with you, Darius? Seriously, spill the beans. You can't just bail on this kid, come on. You were over the moon when Evelyn dropped the baby bomb on us. Hey, remember all those baby books you devoured like they were the latest bestseller? The crib you whipped up, the changing table you assembled like a pro, and that nursery you splashed with pink and yellow, complete with a parade of adorable little animals on the walls? Pure magic. Every week, you'd waltz in with a shiny new toy that she couldn't even touch for ages. Classic move. So, spill the beans. What went down? What's the scoop? What's new in the world of change? She looked at me like I was a magic 8-ball, just waiting for her to shake me up for the answers. You won't believe what just hit me, I had a total light bulb moment, I said. I'm not as confident as I once was, that's for sure. So, I bet you've picked up on the fact that something's a bit wonky, huh? Evelyn's mom, Yvette, gave a serious nod, like she just heard the worst dad joke ever. Oh, you don't say? We totally caught that one. You haven't even given Livia a single hug yet? Not even a sideways look at her. We thought you were just getting the hang of things, but now I'm starting to have my doubts. I puff up my chest and talk like I mean business, but you know, in a chill way. If she's my kiddo, I'll be the ultimate dad she could ever ask for. But hey, I'm not exactly looking to play house with a kid that's not mine. Nope, not happening. Not your jam? Yvette's voice shot up like a balloon at a kid's birthday party, totally blown away. What in the world are you rambling about, Darius? If she's my girl, I've got her covered. But hey, if that's not happening, then Julian Rosewood better man up and take on the dad duties for his own kid, I said with some serious oomph. When that name popped up, Evelyn went from full-on sobbing to a dramatic gasp, like she just saw a ghost or something. Hey there, Julian? Are you kidding me right now? Oh come on, Darius, we've never even been in the same zip code of involvement. You're totally bonkers if you think that. I shuffled over, plopping myself down at the foot of her hospital bed like it was the hottest seat in town. My mom and Yvette shot each other some seriously awkward glances, their eyes bouncing between me and Evelyn like a game of ping pong. "Oh come on, Evelyn. So, you're just gonna stand there and play the denial game, huh?" I totally asked. "You were playing hide and seek with him for 6 months, huh? It finally hit the brakes when you found out you were baking a tiny human." "Nah, not happening. We totally just sat around doing nada." "Who spilled the beans on that Whopper?" I caught her gaze and leaned in, dropping my voice to a secretive whisper. "Julian Rosewood spilled the beans to me personally." Before Yvette could even blink, and probably because she was running on fumes and a sprinkle of panic, Evelyn just let it slip. "Julian would never spill the beans on that. He totally pinky swore." Yvette's eyes were doing the cha-cha between her daughter and me, her face doing a little dance as she finally caught on to Evelyn's little oopsie. "I need the full scoop on what you know," she insisted with a no-nonsense look. I took a deep breath and shifted my focus to Evelyn. "Julian went and spilled the beans on everything. Classic move, right?" "He spilled the beans," I said, keeping a close eye on her. "Hey, to cut him some slack, he was juggling a ton of pressure back then. It all just spilled out while he was in full-on scream mode." "That's just absurd," Evelyn retorted, her voice quivering like a leaf in the wind. "Julian was all good when he rang me up yesterday to see how me and the little one were doing." "It's quiet time." Her words popped in the room like a firecracker, zinging through the air and landing on everyone within earshot. Evelyn was probably so wiped out from giving birth that she didn't even register what she just spilled. I mean, who can blame her? That's some serious life stuff right there. Yvette flopped back like a deflated balloon, her expression a mix of shock and disbelief. My mom's eyes went all cartoon-wide as she looked at me, then at Evelyn, and you could practically see the gears turning in her head. "So, you're still chatting it up with your old buddy, huh?" I said, keeping my voice low but oh so sassy. "So, did he drop any more gems on how to keep me clueless about him possibly being the baby daddy?" Evelyn's face turned into a total Picasso painting, and then, bam! She was a waterfall of tears. Her wails hit like a surprise party gone wrong, prompting 2 nurses to dash into the room faster than you can say what's happening. We were super careful, and there she was, crying like a waterfall, shoulders all over the place. No chance you could have seen that coming. Not a soul had a clue. "She's just a tad overwhelmed," I said to the first nurse, who was giving me the kind of look that could cut glass. I guess my vibe was a bit icier than I meant it to be. "We're just tossing around some name ideas for the birth certificate application," and I threw in my 2 cents, sporting a grin that was about as genuine as a $3 bill. The nurse was giving me the side eye like I just stole her lunch money, and I could practically see the gears turning in her head. "So, it looks like she wants me to scribble my name down, but honestly, I think I'll hold off until we figure out if I'm the dad or if it's that dude she was hanging out with when she got knocked up." The nurse's expression morphed like a puzzle coming together, and you could almost see the gears turning in her head. She gave Evelyn a look that could melt ice cream, all while giving her arm a friendly squeeze. "Hey Miss Whitner, let's take a chill pill, alright? Hey, don't forget those breathing tricks from labor," she said, shooting a quick look at the other nurse. "Ruby's got your back and can snag something to help you chill if you really need it, but hey, let's give the natural vibes a shot first. We definitely don't want any sneaky stuff crashing the milk party, do we? Alright, take a big ol' breath in and let it out like you're blowing out birthday candles. Take a deep breath with me, folks." While I was busy watching the nurse work her magic on Evelyn, I totally missed my mom and Yvette creeping up on me. Then, bam! My mom's whisper sliced through the air like a ninja, and I was like, "Whoa, where did you come from? You better spill the beans, mister," she hissed, her voice all sharp edges but still whispering like a ninja. I jumped and spun around to see her standing there. My mom hardly ever talks like that, but here we are, round 2 in just 1 day. Well, that was a big ol' neon sign that things had taken a turn for the serious, huh? "I want to know everything," Yvette declared, arms crossed like a boss. "The whole shebang. So, like, what's the deal? When's it happening, and how are we making it all go down?" This totally came out of left field. I chuckled wearily, shooting a glance at both of them. "You two are totally barking up the wrong tree," I shot back, feeling a little fire brewing in my chest. "Hey, I'm not the one playing hide and seek here. Here I am, the lovable goofball, just trying to connect the dots like it's a game of tic-tac-toe." I gave Evelyn a little wave, like I was trying to summon a friendly ghost or something. So, she was juggling a little office romance while we were on the baby-making train. Talk about multitasking, right? Just me and at least one other dude, hanging out. Well, I can't really put my finger on it if there were more or not. Evelyn got her act together faster than you can say emotional roller coaster, turning her blubbering into some calm, collected breathing. Who knew she had it in her? Her face was a total mess with tears, but those eyes? Oh boy, they were ready to take on the world. We were super careful, she blurted out, her voice wobbling like a Jenga tower on the edge of collapse. So, spill the beans. How did you stumble upon this juicy tidbit? Her words totally grabbed my mom and Yvette's attention, and they both turned to me with those spill the beans looks. You could practically see the excitement in their eyes, just waiting for me to dish out more info. You were super careful, and I just nodded like, yep, totally on the same page. Alright, I'll give you that one. Well, color me clueless. Nope, not a soul did either. I hit the brakes for a sec, letting that confession just chill in the air like an awkward silence at a party. But Julian, that lovable goofball, just couldn't resist the temptation. He just couldn't resist the urge to strut his stuff. Evelyn's brow did that cute little furrow thing, and her lips were like, hey there. Huh? What's going on here? What in the world are you rambling on about? Julian was on a mission to wow Ruby Graves, I said, eyeing the way Evelyn's face contorted like she just bit into a sour lemon. She totally had Ruby down to a science. Hey, you remember Ruby, right? That unforgettable character. She's been in your corner for ages. So, her hubby Scott is part of our crew. Evelyn's eyes were doing the cha-cha on the floor, while her lips were all zipped up like a top-secret file. So, I kept going, and let me tell you, Julian was totally crushing on Ruby, and rumor has it, he got way too cozy. Ruby confessed she was totally freaked out about getting caught. She figured his lips were about as trustworthy as a leaky faucet. So, in a classic case of I can keep a secret, he went ahead and blabbed about all his other escapades. Smooth move, genius. He even tossed out the names of a few ladies from the office, some hitched, some still on the market. The previous superstar in this lineup was Sandy. She pulled the old vanishing act after a couple of months when her hubby started raising an eyebrow. Well, look who it is, Evelyn. You really know how to make an entrance, don't you? 6 months of fun and games, and then boom, you're baking a tiny human. He spilled the beans to Ruby that you were secretly wishing I'd step up as the dad just to dodge this whole circus. Knock it off, will ya? Evelyn spat, her hands shaking like a leaf as she clutched those bed rails for dear life. Oh, so now you're ready to hit the brakes, huh? I chuckled, but it was more of a sarcastic snort than a real laugh. Well, maybe a little brain power before chasing after Julian would have been a good idea, huh? He was totally showing off to Ruby, Evelyn. He spilled the beans, straight up told her that you had him zip it because you were scared I'd bounce. Classic move. Silence loomed around like that awkward moment when you realize you've been talking to yourself in public. It was like she'd just been slapped across the face by a flying fish, and my mom's eyes shot over to Evelyn, wide and sharp like she'd just seen a ghost at a comedy show. So, what's the deal with Ruby? So, my mom was like, hey. So, like, how did she spill the beans, huh? She totally didn't mean to, I said, letting out a little laugh that was more like a snort than anything else. Looks like Ruby's got a lot to say. Well, not exactly like Evelyn, that's for sure. I couldn't help but smirk, totally tuning out the cringe fests from both moms. Ruby's all about those names, folks. Super duper specific names, like the kind that make you go, whoa, that's a mouthful. So, Scott says that one night she just yelled, give it to me, Julian. Talk about a dramatic moment, right? I'm totally obsessed with it. Yvette's face turned whiter than a ghost at a Halloween party. My mom's hand shot up to her mouth like she thought it could magically mute the shocking news she'd just heard. Scott totally got it right away, I said, leaning in with my hands on my hips like a superhero ready to save the day. He was well aware of Julian, knew all about his legendary status, and let's be real, his name was about as similar to Scott as a cat is to a toaster. He cornered Ruby, and just like that, she let it all out like a soda can after a good shag. She spilled the whole saga while sniffling and saying sorry like it was going out of style. Scott spilled the beans later while we were sipping on some drinks. He claimed that the second he heard it, he just knew something was off. Like, alarm bells were ringing in his head. Scott and Julian? Yeah, good luck trying to confuse those two. It's like mixing up a cat with a dog, just not happening. Yvette shot a glance at Evelyn, her voice dropping to a serious whisper. You can't be serious, she exclaimed, her voice dripping with desperation. But Evelyn just plopped down, her eyes doing the cha-cha all over the place, just not on Yvette. Oh, but wait, There's more. I exclaimed, shoving ahead like a kid in a candy store. So, after Evelyn, Julian decided to swipe right on Mary Ridgefield. Classic move, right? Her hubby, Ethan, is in law enforcement, so you know that's a whole circus of chaos. Ethan's radar went off when Mary started pulling those late-night work shifts and playing hide-and-seek with a daycare clock. Ethan got so curious that he couldn't help but start firing off questions. He's been playing the silent game for a whole week now. Just hanging out here, twiddling my thumbs and counting the seconds like a pro. He was all about keeping things chill for Evelyn during her pregnancy, but now that the little one has arrived, I bet he's ready to toss the nice guy act out the window. Yvette looked like she just saw a ghost, pale as a sheet. Wait, hold up. Are you saying this Julian Rosewood guy was juggling multiple ladies, including my daughter? And now there's a possibility that Livia is his? Seriously? She asked, her voice all wound up like a spring ready to snap. She took a step back from Evelyn, her breath hitching like a bad stand-up routine, and you could practically see the disappointment oozing out of her every move. Yep, I shot straight from the hip. And Julian is totally in the dark. Or maybe he does care, but he's just too busy enjoying the chaos he's created to notice the mess. Silence rolled into the room like a grumpy cat, just hanging out and making everything awkward. It was one of those awkward silences where you could hear a pin drop. Seriously, crickets were probably chirping in the background. And just like that, my mom swooped in and saved the day, breaking the tension like a champ. So, what's the game plan? She asked, her voice all serious but with a hint of sass. I let out a big ol' sigh, like I was carrying a backpack full of bad decisions. Seriously, it felt like every choice I'd made was throwing a party on my shoulders. I've already sent in my DNA test, let's see what kind of family tree I'm climbing. I had a chat with the head nurse the day after the little one made their grand entrance into the world. Now that Evelyn and I are hitched, I didn't have to ask her if I could play mad scientist with the baby test. I rubbed my hands together like a cartoon villain, trying to squish down the frustration bubbling up in my chest. I shelled out some extra cash to get it here faster. Hang tight. Results are just a couple of days away, 2 to 3, to be exact. Yvette squirmed like a cat on a hot tin roof, shooting a quick look at Evelyn before redirecting her gaze back to me. Hey, do you think you could dig deep and find it in that big ol' heart of yours to forgive her and just move on, even if you're not the baby's biological dad? Just a thought. Hey, something's different around here. She totally skipped calling Livia by her name. Oops. She just dropped the baby bomb. It was like a ninja thought, sneaky, but oh boy, did it linger. Yvette had always thrown Livia's name around like confetti. She had a knack for picking up on things like that. She could totally read me like an open book, better than most folks, and I could tell she was still clinging to the hope that I'd let Evelyn off the hook and stick around. I shot a quick look at my mom. She was as quiet as a mouse, but I could totally read her like a book. She knew exactly where I was coming from. She wasn't exactly throwing a party over it, but deep down, she totally knew. Honestly, I'm not sure I can, I confessed. Yep, I'm her biological dad and all that jazz. I caught sight of Evelyn, but she was playing hard to get with her eyes, definitely not making it easy for me. So, I've been marinating in this for a little over a week now, and let me tell you, it's been a total joyride. Said no one ever. Every single minute? Pure misery. This wasn't just a one-night stand kind of blunder, you know? So, this little escapade lasted a solid 6 months. That's 6 months of sneaky shenanigans and fibs. She's totally lost my trust, like a magician who can't pull a rabbit out of a hat anymore. She didn't just stab me in the back, she took a sledgehammer to our entire marriage. To make matters worse, she was playing Russian roulette with her baby-making potential by getting cozy with another guy while we were in full-on baby mode. Yikes. She flashed that sweet smile right at me and told our families it was totally our call to start a family, all while she was still playing hide-and-seek with Julian on the side. Classic move, right? Yvette was as silent as a ninja, her lips zipped tighter than a jar of pickles. Hey, have you thought about chatting with a counselor? Just a thought. My mom jumped in like a surprise guest at a party. It was like she was putting up a no arguing sign before Yvette even had a chance to open her mouth. Couples therapy might just be the magic potion you need to patch things up, even if it feels like a slow crawl at times. Oh, and let's not overlook Livia. She's kind of a big deal. Hey, cut her some slack. It's not like she did it on purpose. That tiny tot is gonna need a dad, whether he's the one who made her or not. Hey, there's still a chance you could rock that dad role. I let out another dramatic sigh, giving my face a good ol' rub down like it was a tired old car needing some TLC. Mom, seriously, I'm pretty sure therapy isn't going to work magic on this one. I didn't mean to sound like a cat on a hot tin roof, but here we are. Honestly, I'm just trying to figure out where I tripped up in the husband department. I must have pulled some kind of stunt, or maybe just sat on my hands too long, to send Evelyn off the deep end like this. She wasn't trying to swap me out for Julian or anything. She totally got that he was never going to put a ring on it. He's got a PhD in charming the ladies, serial womanizer extraordinaire. Oh, you better believe everyone at her job is in the loop, and I bet she's not living under a rock either. I just shook my head, feeling like a balloon that's lost all its air, frustration level, expert. I'm really working on keeping my thoughts to myself because, honestly, neither of them is worth my rage at the moment. I'm on the edge of losing it. Super duper close. Honestly, apart from the whole hotness factor or maybe the excitement of a new fling, I just can't wrap my head around why she'd toss aside all the awesome stuff we've created together. I was under the impression our relationship was rock solid. They just sat there, all quiet while I kept rambling on, my words gushing out like a leaky faucet on a mission. You can bet I've been a total wreck since I got the news. Just like you said, Mom, I was totally pumped about becoming a dad. I was totally geared up for it. And just like that, everything went totally haywire. Well, it looks like my entire universe just decided to take a nosedive. Honestly, at this point, I'm kind of rooting for the not my kid team. Both ladies stared at me like I just sprouted a third eye or something. Total shock mode. Honestly, I just wanted to skip the whole part-time dad gig, you know? I fessed up to that. Honestly, I'm not sure I can survive being in Evelyn's gravitational pull for the next 18 years. If Livia is my jam, then I'm gonna need a whole therapy session just to learn how to handle Evelyn without losing my mind. Out of nowhere, a nurse popped out of the hospital room and shot me a look. What was that about? Hey there, Mr. Whitner, she said, strutting a little closer. Your better half wants to have a little chat with you. So, she said she knows you're still hanging around, and since her mom hasn't made a comeback yet, she thought you'd be sticking close by. Classic move, right? I caught the nurse's eye and saw a little spark of sympathy dancing around in there. Just as I was about to take a step forward, she threw up a hand like a traffic cop on a caffeine high, signaling me to halt. If you decide to waltz in there, she said with a hint of caution, just do your best to keep your cool, alright? I get that you're feeling a bit cranky, but we really don't want to add any more stress to her plate. We'd rather skip the sedation, especially since she's all set to head out this afternoon. So, here's the scoop, extra meds might sneak into her milk, and I know you picked up in those childbirth classes just how crucial that early breast milk is for giving the little one a superhero immune system. I gave a slow nod, her words slicing right through the haze in my brain like a hot knife through butter. She was totally trying to win me over as a potential dad, and, like it or not, I still had a soft spot for Livia's well-being. My mom was like, hey, why not go chat with her? Yvette and I are off to snag some coffee emoji. Pass me those car keys, and let's shuffle that car seat around. She hit the brakes for a sec, and her eyes did that cute little softening thing. Hey, before you bounce, swing by the nursery and check out Livia, she's a real gem. I swear, she's got your baby face down to a science. It's like a mini you just popped out. Yeah, right, Mom, I mumbled, shooting her a look. Or are you just wearing those rose-colored glasses again? She gave a little shrug, looking like she just bit into a lemon. Not exactly thrilled, huh? If Livia were my kiddo, you better believe my mom would be all up in that parenting business, no matter the drama between Evelyn and me. She was already taken, folks. I strolled into the hospital room, and the moment Evelyn laid eyes on me, it was like someone turned on the waterworks again. Cue the tears. She was practically vibrating, and her breaths were coming in like little hiccups. You must totally hate me, she blubbered. Nope, not hating you here, I said, clutching the bed frame like it was my lifeline. Well, there you have it, the classic conundrum. I was wrestling with my voice like it was a slippery fish trying to escape. Seriously? What you did is just the worst. I'm so mad right now, my brain's doing somersaults. Seriously, it's like a circus in there. Hey, just to clear the air, I don't actually hate you. Promise. I let out a long, dramatic sigh, fists all balled up like I was ready to take on the world, or at least my next snack. So, are we chatting now, or do you need a little more time to come up with your grand explanation? No pressure, just curious. I don't need days, Evelyn started, but I jumped in before she could finish. So, You've had a whole 9 months to come up with a clever excuse for when I inevitably discovered your little secret with Julian Rosewood, huh?" My voice totally wobbled when I said his name. "Julian Rosewood," I said, dragging it out like a fine wine, letting that name hang in the air like a dramatic pause in a soap opera. I was convinced I was about to pop out our little bundle of joy. Definitely not his. Evelyn's eyes popped up to meet mine like they were on a spring-loaded mechanism. "It's your little bundle of joy," she wailed. "Do you now?" I totally lost it. I took a peek at my work schedule, and guess what? It's all there in black and white. I was out at sea for most of the first week of July, you know, just living that nautical life. I rolled back in at the end of the week, and bam! We jumped right into the good stuff. I was under the impression that was the moment you got knocked up. That's exactly what I said to the crew at the office. I took a step forward, totally locked in on her gaze like a deer in headlights. "So, what's the scoop on those weeks leading up to that, Evelyn? So, did you have him over while I was off doing my thing? So, did you have a little sleepover with him in our bed?" I asked, my voice hitting those high notes like I was auditioning for a musical. Not that it really matters where the magic went down. Hey, it's a big deal that it went down. Nah, not happening. She let out a wail, with tears doing the cha-cha down her cheeks. He only showed up at the house for those work barbecues, like a rare Pokémon sighting. We totally played it safe. I wouldn't want my neighbor catching a glimpse of him hanging out there, that's for sure. Watch out, will ya? Well, I guess I wasn't exactly playing it safe, huh? I said that with a bit of a chill in my voice. Evelyn was face-palming like it was an Olympic sport, her sobs all tucked away like a secret nobody wanted to hear. "I have no clue why I went and did that," she said with a hint of a shrug. I was feeling like a lone wolf in a sea of party animals. "Where were you off to all the time?" So, we started chatting, and next thing I knew, we were practically best buds. I just shook my head and let out a laugh that was more bitter than a cup of burnt coffee. "Oh, you really thought that was the top choice, huh?" Evelyn looked like she'd just seen a ghost, and I was crossing my fingers she wouldn't go all mute on me before I could squeeze out more answers. "Wait, hold up. You were juggling a secret affair for 4 months, then decided to throw a baby into the mix and kept the party going for another 2? Wow, that's some serious multitasking." I gave it a little nudge, hoping to keep the chat rolling. She gave a slow nod, her cheeks turning a delightful shade of crimson, like she just got caught with her hand in the cookie jar. She confessed, looking down like she'd just lost a game of poker, "I thought I might be pregnant, but I wasn't ready to hit the brakes until I had the full scoop." I convinced myself that since I was already pregnant, it was totally fine to keep seeing him. No biggie, right? She cringed, totally getting how full that came off. "Wait, hold up. Julian bailed after you dropped the baby bomb on him?" I totally asked. "Oh," she totally fessed up, nice and quiet like. "He was totally avoiding the drama of you discovering the truth and having to step up if the little one turned out to be his." Yikes. "So, you two had a little chat about your choices, did ya?" I crossed my arms and gave a look that said, "Oh really?" Evelyn gave another nod, her voice dropping to a whisper like she was sharing a top-secret mission. "Absolutely. We both thought you'd be totally clueless that Livia wasn't your little bundle of joy," she spilled the beans. "Honestly, there was a pretty solid chance she wasn't even his. Especially since you waltzed back home that first week in July. We were practically glued at the hip that week." "And Julian?" "Nope, didn't see him once while you were around." I cocked my head to the side, letting the light bulb moment hit me like a ton of brick. "So, while I was out there busting my chops offshore to build our dream life, you were busy playing house with Julian? Really?" My voice was like molasses, all thick and bitter. Yikes. Was it because I was MIA and you were feeling some type of way? Or, wait for it. I hit the brakes before I could unleash my inner meanie. "No way, that's not how it went down," she exclaimed, shaking her head like a bobblehead on a bumpy road. "It was as emotional as a brick wall. It was all about the physical stuff, you know?" I totally was. I was feeling a bit like a lone wolf, just me and my thoughts hanging out together. I'm not sure, craving hot stuff. Guess who showed up? Yep, it was Julian. We only crossed paths when you were off gallivanting somewhere else. We'd hang out at his pad 3 or 4 times a week. I didn't crash there every single time. I totally played it cool, acting like I was chilling at home all the time. We played it cool at work, making sure we didn't raise any eyebrows. Keep the lovey-dovey stuff behind closed doors, folks. No flirting in public, folks. It was like she had a script tucked away in her brain, ready to roll out her excuse like a pro. You could practically hear the cue cards flipping in her mind. And no, she chimed in, almost like she was psychic, he's definitely not winning any awards in the bedroom department. He's not winning any awards over here. We basically just repeated our greatest hits, right? Nothing new under the sun for us. Her eyes shot up to mine, like they were on a mission to find a hint of I get it. He was just hanging out, you know? When you totally weren't. Oh man, it was a blast. Whoa, hold on to your hats because this is gonna be a wild ride. That's the most fabulous way I can say it. And, just to be clear, I didn't do it to get back at you or anything. Promise. That was a real me moment. I did it just for me, you know? A little self-love action. Her honesty hit me like a pie in the face, unexpected and a little messy. She didn't even bother to throw on some frosting. I bit down hard, doing my best to keep my feelings from throwing a wild party in my head. If you were only mine when I was in the vicinity, then you were never truly mine, I declared, fixing my gaze on her like a hawk on a mouse. You were my wifey, but playing house with him on the side. You were like a ninja trying to avoid the spotlight, huh? And then, surprise. Baby on board. My voice oozed with a side of sass. Or maybe you'll give it another shot with Julian and throw in a second kid for good measure, huh? Nah, not happening. Evelyn exclaimed, her eyes practically popping out of her head with sheer panic. She shook her head like she was trying to hit the undo button on my words. I totally pinky swore I'd never pull a fast one on you again. Oh, I totally saw it coming. Once you clicked with Livia, it was game over, you were never going to let her go. Even if she didn't come from your DNA factory. Seriously, check out the level of devotion you've already shown her. It's like you're her personal cheerleader or something. She was all sniffles and tears, giving her eyes a good ol' wipe down. Even Julian's on board with this one. Well, look at you, earning some points over there, I said with a wink. So, you and Julian had a little chit-chat about all this, did ya? Oh, so you'd pull the ol' switcheroo on me, huh? Keep me in the dark like I'm some kind of clueless mushroom. Classic move. So, yesterday when he rang you up to see how you and little one were doing, I'm betting that's the hot topic of the day, how to handle yours truly. Her eyes were doing the cha-cha to the side, while her fingers were having a little dance party with the blanket. Oh boy, I recognized that expression all too well. It was the classic deer-in-headlights expression, like someone who just realized they forgot to study for the big test and is now frantically trying to come up with an excuse. And let me spill the tea, I said with a frosty vibe, inching closer to the bed. The magic word in all that chatter was, like, I was totally into being Livia's dad. But that's old news now. So, both our moms are totally on my case about the fact that I haven't even held her once since she made her grand entrance into the world. Oops. I haven't even bothered to change her diaper, swaddle her, or give her more than a quick glance. Whoops. I leaned in, locking eyes with her like I was about to reveal the secret to the universe. If the DNA test says I'm the dad, then hey, I guess that's that. I'm ready to take the plunge. Guess who's stepping up to the dad plate? Yep, it's me. But until then, I'm out of this pretend playhouse with you. Her eyes were like a leaky faucet, but honestly, I was just not that bothered. I was way past that point, my friend. Hey, Evelyn, can I hit you with a question real quick? Hey, did it even cross your mind if I was Livia's dad or what? Just curious. She paused for a sec but didn't exactly say no. She took a breath, and after what felt like an eternity, she finally confessed, well, duh. Of course I wanted you to be the dad. But then I discovered I was baking a tiny human in my oven. All I wanted was the tiny human, you know? I totally knew she'd be a knockout, and you'd be none the wiser. You and Julian could totally be twins, just with different haircuts. Seriously, it's like looking in a mirror with a funhouse twist. Twinsies with the hair color, huh? Same vibe, different day. You'd be her daddy, and honestly, who even cares? A laugh that was more like a rusty door creaking open slipped out of me, all sharp edges and emptiness. Guess what? I decided to work closer to home just for you. How sweet is that? I ditched those offshore gigs and decided to embrace a little less cash in my pocket. Who needs money when you can have peace of mind, right? I tossed those hefty bonus checks out the window. I did that for you because I figured that's what you were after. I shook my head, feeling like a volcano ready to blow my top. If my absence was such a big deal, you could have just hollered at me. Seriously, all you had to do was just ask. Easy peasy. Every single thing I did was all about you, my friend. Evelyn was wailing like a banshee, but honestly, I was just sitting there like a rock, totally unfazed. Well, buckle up, Because that's about to change, I said. If I'm not the dad, I'm packing my bags and heading back to the high seas. I'll hang out there for as long as it takes, no worries. I'm on the hunt for a woman who's all in, someone who wants to be with me and only me, not a gal who can't keep her promises or her legs crossed when I'm out of sight. She was crying like a waterfall, but honestly, I was over it. But I totally need you to help with the baby, she wailed like a soap opera star. We're basically one big happy family. So, what's the deal with us? For the last 7 months, I've been as loyal as a golden retriever with a tennis ball. Since that day, I've been on a strict no other dudes policy. How about we give counseling a whirl? Could be a fun ride. Hey, we can totally sort this out, can't we? Honestly, at this point, I'm questioning if the US even exists, I said with a frosty vibe. We'll cross that bridge when the DNA test confirms I'm the dad. Alrighty then, I'm outta here for now. I took a quick peek around the room. I've already stuffed my things into boxes like a squirrel hoarding nuts for winter. The stuff that really tickled my fancy has vanished into thin air. Her eyes popped open like she just saw a ghost. So, where are you off to? She asked, her voice all tiny and shaky, like a little mouse trying to find its way home. So, guess what? I just snagged myself an apartment last week. How cool is that? I hung around until Livia made her grand entrance, but now? I'm outta here. I made my grand entrance toward the door, like a superstar strutting onto the stage. Yvette's got your back, and who knows, my mom might jump in to lend a hand too. She's crossing her fingers that Livia's her grandkid, but hey, time will tell. Nope, not a glance over my shoulder. Her wails trailed behind me like a sad little puppy as I made my grand exit. I almost did a faceplant into Yvette and my mom, who were just hanging out by the doorway like it was the hottest spot in town. Oh, it was as obvious as a cat in a dog park, they'd been totally eavesdropping. Oh sure, go ahead and sue me, Yvette grumbled with a dramatic eye roll. She shot me a look that screamed, help me, please. Hey Darius, don't throw in the towel just yet. Hey, there's still a shot at making up. Especially if Livia is your little princess. I spun around to her, my patience officially checked out and gone on vacation. Hey Yvette, were you actually paying attention or just nodding along like a bobblehead? Did you somehow skip over the part where Evelyn totally forgot to say sorry for cheating on me? I totally lost it. She was totally guilt-free. She was totally unbothered. She's been spinning her excuses since I strolled in the door. So, her brilliant reasoning is that she was feeling lonely and a little frisky, and I'm just supposed to shrug it off and keep going? Really? It's totally gross. Mom swooped in like a superhero, ready to save the day and chill out the vibes. She said with a smile, we just shifted the car seat and locked it in place. I'm about to throw some stuff in a bag and crash for a few days. Let the adventure begin. Even if I'm not the dad, Evelyn's been like my kiddo for the past 6 years. Time flies when you're having fun, right? Oh, come on. I can't just ditch her, not now, at least. But hey, don't get it twisted, she added, her voice getting all serious, I'm not on board with what she pulled. Oh, I feel you. The anger train is rolling through town, and I'm on board too. If she hadn't just popped out a tiny human, I bet Yvette and I would be all over her like peanut butter on toast, letting her know just how silly she's been acting. I gave a little nod, totally vibing with her honesty. So, when they popped the question about my nude digs, I casually dropped the location like it was no big deal. Little did they know, I'd already had a chat with a lawyer and was busy playing the asset protection game like a pro. I wrapped up our credit card mess, got the investment accounts all cozy, and had the lawyer whip up some divorce papers because, surprise, surprise, someone couldn't keep it in their pants. So, even though cheating isn't on the official list of reasons to get a divorce in our state, it sure felt like a solid reason to hit the road. Evelyn's gonna be homebound for a bit after the baby arrives, but I just can't shake the feeling that she'll be all up in our finances online. Yikes. I had to play it safe, you know? Better safe than sorry, right? I was pretty convinced our marriage was a goner. Any tiny question I had, based on the good times we used to have, just poof. Disappeared. Yeah, trusting her again? Not happening, my friend. On my way to the nude digs, I hit up Scott for some company and a cold one. Because, you know, moving is thirsty work. I had this grand plan to take a few weeks off work after the baby arrived, you know, to help Evelyn get used to the whole parenting gig, kind of like a dude's version of maternity leave. But honestly, being solo right now is the last thing I'm in the mood for. Scott was living the dream with a schedule as flexible as a yoga instructor on a good day, all thanks to his father-in-law's company. He said he'd swing by the bar to meet me. His situation was like a hot mess express, just like mine. Ever since Ruby spilled the beans, he's been giving his marriage a serious second look. "So, you've been chatting it up with Evelyn, huh?" Scott piped up as we plopped down with our drinks in hand. I gave him the lowdown on all the juicy drama, spilling every last messy detail like it was hot gossip. "So, I chatted with the same lawyer you did, and guess what?" he said, while casually sipping his beer. "Lucky me, Ruby's dad had her sign a prenup before we tied the knot. He was all about keeping his business safe and sound. She's got a little stock action going on, but it's about as useful as a chocolate teapot, no dividends and zero clout in the company. Yikes. She can hang on to the stock, but I'm snagging just about everything else." So, we've had this chat before, and Scott was well aware that Evelyn was gonna snag half of our joint goodies, and let me tell you, that's no pocket change. We both tossed some cash into the marriage pot, with Evelyn raking in a nice paycheck. I was thinking of cranking up the drama to dodge that alimony bill, and I had a hunch Yvette could be my secret weapon in this little game. When it comes to child support, it only counts if the little munchkin is actually mine, and let me tell you, I'm still scratching my head over that one. "Well, this is gonna cost me," I grumbled, giving my face a good ol' rub down like it could magically fix my problems. "The courts are about to throw the book at me for absolutely nothing. Talk about a major overreaction." Scott gave a serious nod, like he'd just heard the worst dad joke ever. "So, Ron and I decided to pay a visit to Marcus Duval, yeah, Dana's hubby, and spilled the beans about her little rendezvous with Julian." "Oops." He shook his head, looking like he just found out that unicorns aren't real. Surprise, surprise. He was absolutely livid. Ron, the cop, gave him a friendly heads up, "Hey buddy, don't go pulling any wild stunts." I gave a little nod, like a bobblehead on a bumpy road. "Hey, cut him some slack for being all fired up." "Oh, I feel you. I'm fuming over here as well." "Oh, totally." Marcus was throwing a fit at us as well, Scott chimed in. "We totally thought we were a bunch of scaredy cats for letting Julian slip through our fingers. He called us weak for not jumping in his face right off the bat." I shot an eyebrow up like it was a rocket launch. "So, what was Ron's brilliant comeback to that?" Scott flashed a grin that could light up a room. Ron was like, "Who even said anything about giving that fool a free pass?" So he turned to Marcus and said, "Hey buddy, steer clear of any dumb moves that'll land you in hot water." He gave him a friendly nudge, saying, "Dude, Julian isn't exactly worth a jail cell, you know?" I let out a little laugh, but it was more like a sigh with a side of gloom, because man, the last few weeks have been a real doozy. Sure, Marcus might blow his top now and then, but don't let that fiery temper fool you, he's got brains to back it up. "You got it, Scott's on board." He was like, "Sure, whatever. I just gotta make sure I don't end up in the hot seat when someone's having a little chat with Julian." We both chuckled, you know, that twisted kind of humor that helps you hold it together when everything's going sideways. You bet I did, and I couldn't stop chuckling. We all know something's gotta give with that fool. Gotta tread lightly, my friend. Take it easy, no need to jump the gun. Castrating him? Yeah, that's definitely not the solution, folks. Scott shot an eyebrow up like it was a rocket ready for launch. "You've totally lost your marbles, dude. You can't just stroll away from this like it's a done deal, my friend. Sure, he could pop out more kiddos, but those bills aren't going to pay themselves. He's still on the hook for turning love stories into cautionary tales. Yours, mine, Marcus's, and hey, why not throw Ron's in the mix too? You betcha, I'm in the loop." So, Ron's hanging out with Mary for the time being, all thanks to the kiddos. But hold on to your hats, folks. It all hinges on how she takes it when he decides to have a little chat tonight. So, Scott chuckled, Julian's fibs are about to crumble like a house of cards once these ladies start giving him the heads up. He's not exactly planning to set up camp here, huh? His issue? He's like a GPS for anyone who wants to find him. Seriously, folks, you have no idea how tough it is to pull off a full-on vanishing act. Uh-oh, looks like he's in a bit of a pickle. You can totally take my word for it. Oh, for sure. I'm convinced there's a whole secret society of women out there that we haven't even met yet. If we've already dug up 4 ladies he's been with, you can bet your bottom dollar there are more hiding in the shadows. It's like giving a haystack a good shake and suddenly, bam! 4 needles just drop out like they were waiting for their big moment. Oh, you can bet your bottom dollar the rest of it is just packed with them too. Scott couldn't help but crack up at that. That's a pretty awesome metaphor, right there. When it comes to Julian, I added with a cheeky grin, "I'd really like him to hang on to at least one of those jewels." Scott gave his eyelids a little workout. "Why settle for just one, right? Easy peasy," I shot back, with a grin that could scare a ghost. Even if he strikes out on both counts, he can still score some hormone replacement therapy and keep the bedroom fun going. But if you hand him one that's all banged up, he'll be stuck with a never-ending case of the grumbles. It's like a timeout that sticks around, but doesn't go overboard. And hey, it'll totally mess with his head. Scott couldn't help but crack up, his mind racing with the hilarious image. "Dude, I've gotta spill the beans to Ron and Marcus about that one. They're gonna be all over it." So, 2 days later, I swung by the old digs where Evelyn and I used to hang our hats. Yvette swung the door open like a bouncer at a club, her eyes narrowing like she was sizing up a potential troublemaker. "Wow, look at you, not wasting a single second, huh?" she mumbled under her breath. "Hey there. What's cookin'? What do you need from me?" Evelyn got the divorce papers this morning, and let me tell you, I was hit with a cocktail of guilt and relief that could make anyone dizzy. Yvette's face did that cute little softening thing, but just a smidge. "She's been a waterfall of tears ever since," she said, with her arms all crossed like a grumpy toddler. "The only time she's in a good mood is when she's playing Nurse to Livia." Hey, no hard feelings. I just figured you'd keep us all in suspense a bit longer. I gave it some thought, I'll admit that much. Why wait around? Ain't nobody got time for that. Sure, she's all mopey now, but let's not forget she's been turning me into a punchline for 6 whole months. I've officially run out of chances for her. No more doubt left to give. Yvette squinted like she just spotted a squirrel stealing her lunch. "So, what are the odds of us playing nice again? Hey, have you thought about giving counseling a shot? It might just be the ticket." I gave my head a slow, dramatic shake, like I was trying to say, "No way, Jose." I was pretty sure our couple's future was as bright as a black hole. Well, there you have it, folks. Case closed. I passed her a crumpled envelope, all folded up like a secret treasure map. Her eyes shot over like they were on a mission, and when she figured out what it was, she nearly forgot how to breathe. "Is this what we're doing now?" "Yep," I totally said that without any flair. "The results of the paternity test are in." That little bundle of joy? Not my responsibility, folks. Her hands were shaking like a leaf in a hurricane as she grabbed the envelope. When she finally ripped it open and read the results, the floodgates opened, and tears were pouring down her face like a broken faucet. Her shoulders drooped like a deflated balloon, and I could practically see the heavy load of broken dreams plopping down on her. "My bad, Yvette," I mumbled. She just nodded, words totally escaping her like a cat from a bath. After a beat, she wrapped me up in a hug, and I could practically feel her heart doing the cha-cha in her chest. "Ouch. My bad too," she mumbled. She gave me the old heave-ho, dabbed her tears, and spun around to deliver the scoop to Evelyn. I spilled the beans to my mom, and let me tell you, she was just as crushed as I was. She had this whole grandma fantasy going on, and then, poof. It was gone like a magician's rabbit. Talk about a bummer. She was fuming over Evelyn's backstabbing and flat-out refused to hang around the house while they played the waiting game for those DNA results. She'd been through the same backstabbing drama as I had. The entire town was all abuzz about Julian Rosewood and his little escapades with the married ladies. Oh, the drama. In the days that followed, Scott, Ron, Marcus, and I faced off against our wives, and let me tell you, we didn't pull any punches. We dropped his name like it was hot, making sure the whole world was in the loop. None of us were fans of being labeled as the betrayed, but hey, we weren't just going to sit back and zip it. Julian's game plan was as straightforward as it gets: boast about his glory days, sweet-talk the ladies who were a bit down on their luck, and sneak in through the gaps in their relationships. Classic move, right? We spilled the tea, and suddenly everyone knew. The whole town was in the loop about who Julian Rosewood was now. When the gossip about Julian's escapades hit the fan, it turned into a wild circus real quick. Dads of little bundles of joy are now jumping on the paternity test bandwagon. Who knew baby drama could be this entertaining? Before I knew it, I was hearing about 2 more little munchkins he'd brought into the world. Husbands started playing detective, grilling their wives like they were on a reality show, and some couples even decided to hit up a therapist for a little relationship tune-up. You won't believe it, but the whole shebang of his backstabbing didn't really hit the fan until Julian decided to spill the beans to the cops himself. You'd think a dude like Julian, living his wild life, would have the brains to keep his cash handy, just in case he needed to make a quick getaway. Oh, come on, really? No way. Instead of turning his fat paycheck into cash, stocks, or anything that doesn't weigh a ton, Julian decided to dive headfirst into the wild world of real estate. He went on a property shopping spree, decked out his pad with over-the-top decor, and hung priceless art like it was going out of style. He had all the hunting and fishing gear you'd expect to find in a local outdoorsman's paradise, plus a fancy boat that was basically a floating Swiss Army knife for skiing and fishing adventures. If he had any brains, he would have taken the money and run like the wind. But nope, Julian just hung out like a stubborn cat on a sunny windowsill. It's tough to pull a disappearing act when every job wants your social security number like it's the secret sauce to their success. And when those furious hubbies come hunting for you, things get a whole lot trickier. Instead of making a run for it, he decided to stick around, and boy, did he pay the price. A couple of days after his name became the hot topic, Julian was discovered on the sidewalk outside his house, looking like he'd just lost a fight with a pillow, barely conscious and all. So there he was, just out for a casual morning jog, when bam! Life decided to throw him a curveball. So, picture this, another jogger stumbles upon him, all tied up like a pretzel with his arms behind his back. Talk about a workout gone wrong. She attempted to flip him over, but his screams hit her like a bucket of ice water. She dialed up the ambulance squad, and when the paramedics rolled in, they were in for a real shocker. His groin had been totally obliterated, not just bruised or fractured, but crushed like a soda can after a party. What's the magic wand we're using here? A hefty 3-pound sledgehammer, ready to smash some stuff. Boom. So there I was, sipping a drink at the bar with Scott and Marcus, when Ron decided to spill the beans about it. Classic Ron, right? So, these two detectives were all like, hey, if you ever find yourself with a 3-pound hammer covered in some weird tissue, just chuck it in the swamp. He said this with a cheeky grin and a smirk that was practically doing the cha-cha. Classic, right? Hey, I swear I had zero involvement in that dude's unfortunate situation down there, Ron said, giving a wink that screamed way louder than his words ever could. Julian swore up and down that he had zero clue who decided to throw a surprise party of punches his way. He could totally hear his doorbell ringing, but the dude couldn't remember if it was the middle of the night or the crack of dawn. Classic, right? It was pitch black, and he was basically snoozing away like a bear in hibernation. So, he was all like, I think they zapped him with a taser, when he spilled the beans to the investigators. They gave me a jolt or two down there. Oh, I totally remember that. Good times, right? Pretty sure there were 2 of them, but hey, my memory's like a sieve sometimes. So, one of them pipes up about not chasing after another dude's lady, and from there, it was just a whole lot of ouch. Julian was on a mission, folks. He was so eager to see those attackers get what they deserved that he whipped out a list of every woman he'd been with in the last few years, married or not. Talk about a dating history with a side of justice. The list was a real doozy, and with a parade of potential suspects, the investigation turned into a logistical circus. No concrete proof pointed to any single suspect, and since the timing of the attack was as clear as mud, confirming alibis was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. So, Ron pulled Scott and me aside and spilled the beans that the detectives were kinda chill about cracking the case. No big rush, apparently. He just shrugged and said, well, they think Julian Rosewood got what was coming to him. Well, after a few months of sleuthing, the investigation hit a brick wall and went colder than a polar bear's toenails. Evelyn hit the jackpot and snagged half of our joint property when we got back home. The house got a makeover with a brand new family moving in. Talk about a fresh start. They had this adorable little girl, and I couldn't help but wonder if she was totally loving the nursery I painted with all those cute animal designs. I mean, who wouldn't want to wake up to a jungle party every morning? I poured hours into making sure every little detail was spot on. Finding out some other dude's kid is growing up? Ouch, that's like a swift kick to the shins. Evelyn packed her bags and made a triumphant return to her mom's place. At least with Yvette around, she wouldn't be flying solo. Evelyn's love life? Yeah, not my cup of tea. So, she gave me a ring to say sorry, probably because Yvette put her up to it, but here's the kicker, she never actually said what she was sorry about. Classic, right? Was it for some sneaky cheating action? So, you're thinking about getting knocked up by a different dude, huh? Interesting choice. So, you want to know about getting caught, huh? Classic. Well, that wasn't on my to-do list. At that stage, I was totally over it. When she threw out the idea of meeting up to chat, I was like, nah, I'm good. So, she totally asked me if I'd heard the latest gossip about Julian and if I was somehow involved. Can you believe it? I just said he got what was coming to him and then hung up like a boss. Well, that was the grand finale of our chat. From that point on, it was all lawyer talk and legal mumbo-jumbo. I occasionally find myself pondering just how much Evelyn would shell out in her quest to make Julian cough up some child support cash. It's like a legal game show, and she's definitely going for the grand prize. Let's be real, he'd probably need a whole lot of convincing to even think about it. Oh, she'll figure it out eventually, no doubt. But first, she's gonna have to empty our piggy bank to bring in a lawyer. Yikes. So, Julian's got a bit of a legal pickle going on with a bunch of women throwing lawsuits his way. Rumor has it the courts are putting the brakes on his assets to keep him from cashing in on his real estate. Yikes. With all those medical bills, legal fees, and child support payments piling up, he's basically living on a shoestring budget, if that. And that's if he can even hang on to his job, which is a big if. Fast forward a year and a half, and there I was, hanging out on the lower deck of the Econ 626 oil rig, just chillin' in the Gulf of Mexico. The crisp autumn breeze gave me a little tickle, and my trusty windbreaker was like a cozy hug, keeping the chill at bay. It was one of my last trips to the rigs, and boy, what a ride it was. I've met someone. Can you believe it? Meet Lily, the woman who's probably got a million stories up her sleeve. She was a whole vibe, like a calm ocean wave just chillin' on the shore. We had this vibe, you know? One I didn't even realize I was missing until it showed up and said, "Surprise." I had no clue where things were headed with Lily, but for the first time in ages, I was actually ready to see what the future had in store. Well, folks, it looks like I finally caved and said yes to the job offer at headquarters, the one I had the pleasure of turning down not once, but twice. Who knew persistence could pay off in such a hilarious way? I was over the whole running from my problems thing. So there I was, unzipping my jacket like a pro, when I suddenly realized I had a little extra baggage hanging out near my belt. Oops. It was that old, annoying weight that I'd been lugging around for what felt like forever. I couldn't wrap my head around why I still had it, but hey, here we are. No matter how many times I pondered tossing it out, I just couldn't let it go. The weight was like that weird old blanket you find in the back of your closet, totally strange, but somehow it felt like I was getting back a piece of me I thought was gone for good. I yanked that hefty hammer out of its secret lair without even breaking a sweat. Whoa, it felt like a brick in my hand, way heavier than I thought it would be. What's up with that? I gave it a good long look, then pivoted to face the ocean like it was about to spill some juicy gossip. The ocean sprawled out before me, a vast, mysterious abyss that looked like it could swallow a whole fleet of rubber duckies. Seriously, it was like the ultimate black hole for beach toys. I clutched that hammer like it owed me money, the chilly metal giving my palm a little love tap. So, with a mighty swing, I sent that thing flying as far as my arm could muster. The splash was like a far-off party for my ears, and let me tell you, it was a total vibe. As I strolled out of that hospital room, it was like the whole world hit the slow-mo button. Seriously, I half expected to see a dramatic soundtrack playing in the background. It felt like I was tuning into my own reality show, just sitting back and munching popcorn while my life went on without me, totally powerless to hit the pause button or change the channel. I snagged a cozy little pad close to the old digs where Evelyn and I used to hang our hats. It was chilly, lacking any warmth, and honestly felt more like a roadside motel than a cozy home sweet home. I just couldn't be bothered to deck it out with furniture. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. If I wasn't clocking in, I was at the bar, sipping on some brews and nursing my shattered ego. I went over every little thing, every chat, like a detective on a mission, trying to figure out if I totally missed the clues. We were totally living the dream, right? Or was that just my own little twist on the tale? I went back and forth on whether to catch up with Lydia again. My mom just wouldn't stop asking, "Have you gone to see the baby yet?" As if that would actually solve anything. But seriously, how could I look at that kid and not think, is she my mini-me? When the paternity test results rolled in, I was like, well, there it is. But hey, I still went for it. Definitely not Evelyn's cup of tea. Yvette, this one's a no-go. Hey Livia. I was not ready for a blockbuster reunion, that's for sure. I strolled in, and bam. Yvette just tossed me the baby like it was a hot potato, no words needed. I plopped down on the couch, cradling Livia like she was the world's most precious burrito. Well, that wasn't the heartwarming epiphany I was hoping for. I gazed at her adorable little face, all tiny and flawless, and all I could think about was Julian pulling a fast one on me. Evelyn's tall tales. I wrapped her up like a burrito, but guess what? The situation stayed as spicy as ever. "You're not her dad," Yvette whispered, almost like she was trying to sell herself on the idea just as much as she was trying to sell it to me. You're not on the hook for anything, my friend. I bounced without even glancing over my shoulder. That day, I decided it was time to kick the past to the curb and strut on forward. I swapped my salty sea legs for a cozy desk chair at headquarters and said goodbye to those wild offshore shifts for the sweet, sweet city office life. So, guess what? I ran into Lily. She didn't poke around or shove her nose in where it didn't belong. She totally tuned in when I was finally ready to spill the beans. Can you believe it's been 3 years since I strutted out of that hospital like I owned the place? Evelyn and I totally ghosted each other after that. Livy is officially off my plate, someone else gets to deal with her now. Good luck, folks. Every now and then, she pops into my head, but honestly, it's happening less and less as the days roll on. Julian? Oh, he totally had it coming. Okay, I'll fess up, there are some nights when the hammer pops into my head like an uninvited guest at a party. Why on earth did I hang on to this? What was I thinking letting that slip away? Maybe I just needed to convince myself that even when the whole world was doing the cha-cha off a cliff, I still had the steering wheel. But when I chucked it into the ocean, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Farewell to the dude I once was.